Hello friends. What happens when the dreamer of the zodiac meets its fearless adventurer? Let's talk about Pisces man and Sagittarius woman, a pair that seems like opposites at first glance, but once they collide, their connection can be magnetic, or maddening. Is this a love written in the stars, or a cosmic misfire? Sit back, because what you're about to read isn't just astrological fluff. It's an emotional, psychological, and yes, celestial deep dive into how these two souls interact in love, sex, marriage, friendship, and even business. Love compatibility, emotional water meets fiery passion. Imagine this, a Pisces man, deep in thought, writing poetry on a rainy afternoon. His world is internal, made up of emotions, dreams, memories, and the subtle details most people overlook. He's the kind of man who remembers how your voice changes when you're tired or how your eyes shift when you're holding back tears. Then enters the Sagittarius woman, wind in her hair, eyes on the horizon, with a backpack full of passports and a mind full of stories. She's been to 5 continents, started 3 side hustles, and knows how to order food in 6 languages. Her world is movement, expansion, and experience. At first glance, these two don't just walk to the beat of a different drum, they're in entirely different parades. He is the soft silence between raindrops. She is the wild laughter echoing from a mountaintop. He's a dreamer, often escaping reality to dwell in emotion. She's a realist with wanderlust, always moving forward, never looking back. And yet, that's exactly where the magic lies. When they meet, there's a sense of surprise. She didn't expect to feel so seen, so understood by someone so quiet. He didn't expect to be so captivated by someone so free, so fearless. The Pisces man brings a level of emotional attentiveness that Sagittarius didn't even know she was missing. He hears not just what she says, but what she means. He's patient, romantic, intuitive. He'll plan dates under the stars, write songs about the way she laughs, and remember the smallest details about her. And Sagittarius? She injects his world with motion, with color, with fire. She challenges his perceptions. She reminds him that it's okay not to overthink, that sometimes joy is in the leap, not the landing. But love, as always, isn't just about chemistry, it's about compatibility. And this pairing? It's got plenty of sparks, and plenty of smoke. Here's where the turbulence begins: communication styles. Sagittarius is brutally honest. She doesn't have time for emotional layers or veiled meanings. She says what she means what she says, and often doesn't realize her words can cut like a blade. Pisces, by contrast, is deeply sensitive. Words matter to him. Tone matters. Timing matters. When she blurts out something raw and unfiltered, he may take it as rejection, even when it's not. He internalizes things. He retreats. He swims deeper into his emotional sea, sometimes vanishing into silence instead of explaining his hurt. Then there's emotional tempo. Pisces loves to dwell in emotion. He's not afraid of tears or quiet intimacy. He finds beauty in melancholy. Sagittarius, on the other hand, avoids emotional heaviness like it's a sinking ship. She prefers to keep things light, optimistic, and future-focused. While he wants to talk about the past, the meaning of dreams, the ache of nostalgia, she wants to talk about her next trip, her career goals, her 5-year plan. If they're not careful, this mismatch can lead to her feeling dragged down and him feeling emotionally abandoned. And yet, despite all this, there's a rare, transformative potential here. If the Sagittarius woman can learn to pause before speaking, to filter her truth through compassion, and to honor the emotional needs of her partner without feeling tied down, she'll see how her warmth can be even more powerful when softened by empathy. And if the Pisces man can learn to self-soothe, to not internalize every sharp word, and to understand that honesty doesn't always equal cruelty, he'll find that emotional resilience gives him room to breathe, not drown. At their best, they become teachers for each other. He teaches her vulnerability, presence, emotional intelligence. She teaches him confidence, boundaries, and the thrill of letting go. Together, they can co-create a relationship full of storybook moments, morning coffee on rooftops in Barcelona, long walks on foggy beaches, journal entries, laughter, forgiveness, passion. Emotional intimacy, when it finally clicks between them, becomes transcendent. It's not just hand-holding or deep conversations, it's two vastly different souls finding a common rhythm, a balance between fire and water. A Sagittarius woman with a Pisces man isn't just in love, she's in a love that stretches her. And he, in return, feels more alive than ever before, no longer just dreaming of love, but living it, messily and beautifully. This isn't a perfect match. But it's a wild, poetic, and deeply human one. The kind of love you write songs about. The kind that changes you, whether it lasts or not. And in a world full of fleeting flings and filtered facades, maybe that's the most real kind of love there is. Sexual chemistry, fantasy meets fire. Let's be honest, this part of the Pisces man and Sagittarius woman relationship. It's pure electricity with a hint of smoke and magic. Not just physical attraction, but a volatile blend of emotional depth and adventurous desire that few other pairings can replicate. From the moment they touch, it's as if two completely different energies collide, creating something entirely new, intense, unpredictable, and unforgettable. Pisces is ruled by Neptune, the planet of dreams, illusions, and the unseen. This gives the Pisces man a sensuality that is profoundly emotional, almost mystical. He doesn't see sex as just a physical act, it's a spiritual journey, a chance to melt into another soul and escape the harsh edges of the world. For him, every kiss has a purpose, every touch tells a story, and every shared breath feels like a verse in a love poem only he can write. He wants candlelight, slow music, whispered secrets. He wants to feel his partner, not just touch her. Enter Sagittarius. Ruled by Jupiter, the planet of expansion, exploration, and wild optimism, the Sagittarius woman brings a kind of raw, untamed energy to the bedroom. For her, intimacy is about freedom, fun, and discovery. She's open-minded, confident, and doesn't shy away from novelty. She doesn't need rose petals and love sonnets, she needs chemistry, laughter, and a good challenge. Her turn-on is authenticity. Her love language is excitement. And her best nights are the ones that begin with spontaneity and end with surprise. Put them together and it's like lighting a match near the ocean. You don't expect it to catch, but somehow it does. The Pisces man, with his emotional depth, pulls the Sagittarius woman into a realm she rarely visits, the world of deep feeling. He touches her in ways that surprise her, not just physically, but emotionally. He slows her down. He anchors her. And for once, she finds herself not rushing to the next thing, but surrendering to the moment. Meanwhile, she awakens something in him that often lies dormant. Her playfulness, her confidence, her refusal to overanalyze, these qualities free the Pisces man from his emotional constraints. She brings out his wild side, encouraging him to explore, to be bold, to live in the moment rather than dream about it. But this dreamy firestorm doesn't come without its sparks. The core tension. Emotional pacing. Pisces craves emotional closeness before and during intimacy. He wants eye contact, quiet connection, reassurance. Without it, he may feel adrift, like the experience is shallow or meaningless. Sagittarius, on the other hand, thrives on lightness and unpredictability. She might roll into bed after a thrilling day without needing a deep emotional prelude. To her, sex is sometimes just sex, joyful, messy, and alive, not always a soul-bearing ritual. This difference can lead to frustration. He might interpret her nonchalance as emotional distance. She might view his depth as clinginess or emotional pressure. If she brushes off his need for intimacy, he might withdraw or grow moody. If he insists on emotional processing every time, she may start to feel smothered or misunderstood. But here's the beautiful part: when they communicate, when they listen, when they trust, they discover something rare. Pisces learns that freedom doesn't mean detachment, and Sagittarius learns that depth doesn't mean limitation. They begin to shape their intimacy into a dance. Sometimes it's fast, hot, and wild. Other times, it's slow, quiet, and soulful. And sometimes, it's both. The bedroom becomes a sacred space of balance. He brings the fantasy, imagination, tenderness, intention. She brings the fire, energy, boldness, exploration. They learn to read each other's cues, to lean into discomfort, to stretch their preferences for the sake of connection. She might light candles one night just for him. He might try something spontaneous just for her. And together, they create something neither expected, a sexual relationship that's as emotionally healing as it is thrillingly alive. Ultimately, the chemistry between a Pisces man and Sagittarius woman isn't about fitting into each other's expectations, it's about expanding them. It's about embracing the unpredictable, finding magic in the unknown, and discovering that sometimes, the most unlikely combinations create the most unforgettable alchemy. Fire meets water. Fantasy meets thrill. And together, they make steam. Marriage potential, a wild card. So, do the Pisces man and Sagittarius woman eventually walk down the aisle? The short answer, maybe. The long answer? It's a winding, unpredictable journey filled with wonder, doubts, and reinvention. Their version of marriage, if it happens at all, won't look like anything you'd find in a Hallmark movie. But that's exactly what makes it so compelling. It's not about tradition, it's about transformation. The Pisces man is a romantic through and through. Marriage, to him, is not just a social contract, it's the sacred merging of souls. He's the guy who's dreamed of his wedding since he was a teenager, not because he craves stability, but because he craves emotional unity. He wants a partner he can trust with his most fragile truths, someone to build a quiet, imaginative life with. He pictures long walks in nature, deep conversations by candlelight, shared dreams that feel like shared destinies. To him, commitment is a sanctuary, something beautiful, warm, eternal. Now cue the Sagittarius woman, wildly independent, endlessly curious, and fundamentally allergic to confinement. Traditional marriage, to her, can feel like a trap disguised as a fairy tale. She doesn't want to be someone's other half, she wants to be whole on her own. She values honesty, freedom, and the ability to grow without having to check in or tone herself down. If she's going to say, "I do," it won't be out of expectation, it'll be because she's found someone who respects her autonomy and expands her world, not shrinks it. So where do they find middle ground? The answer lies in redefining marriage on their own terms. Forget the picket fence. This is the couple that writes their vows in a Himalayan guest house and says them on a beach in Greece. They might keep separate bank accounts, live nomadically, or opt out of kids in favor of joint passion projects. The key to their long-term success isn't compromise, it's co-creation. They don't meet halfway by watering themselves down. They meet all the way by creating a version of commitment that honors both their truths. But make no mistake, it takes work. Pisces has to manage his emotional expectations. His natural tendency is to seek reassurance, emotional closeness, and constant validation that he is loved. If he leans too hard on Sagittarius for emotional fulfillment, he risks making her feel responsible for his inner world, a weight she simply can't carry. His lesson in this marriage? Emotional independence. When he learns to soothe himself and communicate clearly, not cryptically, he allows the relationship to breathe. Sagittarius, meanwhile, must learn the art of emotional presence. Not everything can be solved by a road trip or a new adventure. There are times when Pisces needs her to sit in the stillness of an uncomfortable moment without running from it. Her lesson? Staying put doesn't mean getting stuck. Being vulnerable doesn't mean being weak. And love doesn't have to be a cage, it can be a launch pad. At their best, their marriage is unconventional, but magnetic. They inspire each other. Pisces brings emotional richness, reminding Sagittarius that there's a universe of meaning beneath the surface. He teaches her about intuition, compassion, and the sacredness of commitment. Sagittarius brings fire, reminding Pisces that life is meant to be lived fully, not just felt deeply. She teaches him about risk, truth, and the beauty of moving forward, even when it's scary. They might never be the settled couple hosting Sunday barbecues in suburbia. But they could be the couple running a bed and breakfast in Portugal, or writing a travel memoir about their year in Patagonia, or raising a dog named Saturn while planning a creative nonprofit in Bali. Their life together won't follow a script. It'll be an adventure, and that's the point. The real magic of a Pisces-Sagittarius marriage is this: it doesn't promise predictability, it promises possibility. And for these two signs, that might just be the most romantic promise of all. Friendship, surprisingly strong. Here's the plot twist no one sees coming: the friendship between a Pisces man and a Sagittarius woman often outlasts, outshines, and outperforms their romantic relationship. While their love connection may ride waves of passion and miscommunication, their friendship sails on something much smoother: authentic mutual appreciation. Without the emotional expectations of romance, they find a natural, unforced rhythm that's equal parts uplifting and grounding. Sagittarius brings the spark. She's the firecracker who bursts into his quiet world with wild stories, unfiltered laughter, and spontaneous road trip plans at 2 a.m. She reminds him that not every day needs to be profound to be meaningful. Whether it's planning a last-minute camping trip or deep diving into absurd hypothetical questions, would you rather time travel with Shakespeare or have dinner with aliens? She keeps things vibrant, unpredictable, alive. Her energy is a gift, a jolt of adrenaline to his often introspective state of mind. The Pisces man, in return, offers her something she doesn't often find in others: emotional sanctuary. He listens, truly listens, without needing to fix or judge. His gentle presence has a way of softening her edges without dulling her flame. When she's burnt out or heartbroken, when her adventurous spirit has taken one risk too many, he's the friend who sits beside her, not with answers, but with understanding. He validates her experiences in a world that often tells her to just get over it. To her, his empathy is not only rare, it's restorative. Together, they strike a remarkable balance. She teaches him how to live in the moment, how to say yes more often, how to embrace chaos with humor. He teaches her how to feel deeply without fear, how to find stillness in a frantic world, how to embrace the messy beauty of emotional nuance. They balance each other, not by being the same, but by being complementary mirrors, one reflecting adventure, the other reflection itself. What makes their friendship especially durable is the lack of traditional pressure. There's no expectation to fulfill a role, no ticking biological clocks or romantic scripts hanging overhead. Sagittarius doesn't feel responsible for Pisces' emotional needs; she can just be herself, fiercely independent and unfiltered. And Pisces doesn't expect her to solve him; he can simply be the soulful, poetic version of himself without needing her constant reassurance. That freedom gives their connection space to grow organically. Because of this low-pressure dynamic, their friendship becomes a safe haven. They don't fight often because there's less to fight over. When they do disagree, it's usually over abstract things, ideologies, life philosophies, moral debates, not personal betrayals. And even then, they love the challenge. Pisces enjoys stretching his mind through Sagittarius' bold ideas, and Sagittarius respects Pisces' emotional intelligence and intuition. They like each other as people, and that's rarer than it sounds. They're the kind of friends who can go months without talking and pick up right where they left off. The kind who send postcards from foreign cities or text each other random dreams at 4 a.m. They show up to each other's milestones, book signings, marathons, meditation retreats, not because they have to, but because they genuinely want to witness each other's growth. They're also incredible collaborators in non-romantic adventures, launching passion projects, backpacking across countries, starting book clubs, or even just being each other's wingmen at awkward social events. Together, they create a shared world that's imaginative, meaningful, and constantly evolving. In a world that glorifies romantic entanglement, their friendship is a quiet rebellion. It proves that emotional intimacy doesn't require romance, that growth can come from platonic love, and that sometimes, the truest form of connection is the one where both people feel free to be exactly who they are. For the Pisces man and Sagittarius woman, friendship isn't a consolation prize, it's a lifelong anchor. One that keeps them grounded while still letting them roam. One that whispers, "You're not alone," no matter how far apart they drift. And sometimes, that kind of bond, it's even stronger than love. Business compatibility, the visionary, the explorer. Could this dynamic, wildly unconventional pair actually build an empire? The short answer is yes, but not without navigating a few astrological landmines. The Pisces man and Sagittarius woman bring radically different energy to the table, but in the world of entrepreneurship, that's not a weakness. It's a superpower. When they strike the right balance, they don't just build businesses, they birth movements. Let's start with the Pisces man. He's not your typical CEO type. He's not obsessed with spreadsheets or quarterly earnings, he's driven by vision. He sees the world not for what it is, but for what it could be. He dreams up the impossible, sketches ideas in the margins of notebooks, and taps into social currents and emotional trends with eerie accuracy. He can feel what people need before they even know they need it. His strength isn't strategy, it's soul. He's the brand whisperer, the story architect, the dreamer in chief. Now enter the Sagittarius woman, a fireball of energy, action, and ambition. She's not here to talk about what could happen, she's here to make it happen. Fast. She moves like lightning through ideas, networks, continents. She's naturally entrepreneurial, thrives on freedom, and lives for the challenge of turning concepts into concrete realities. She'll pitch the idea, land the meeting, launch the campaign, all before Pisces finishes his third round of what-if scenarios. She's the movement. She's the marketing. She's the momentum that drags brilliance into being. Together, they form a compelling equation. Pisces provides the why, Sagittarius delivers the how. He infuses their venture with emotion, purpose, and originality. She brings logistics, strategy, and fearless execution. In a perfect world, he inspires, she activates. He imagines, she implements. But this dreamy fire combo isn't without its glitches. The biggest issue? Execution and timing. Pisces, ruled by Neptune, can get lost in his own mind. He may spend too long finessing an idea, doubting its value, or pivoting it until it's unrecognizable. Deadlines can feel oppressive to him. Clarity can be elusive. On the flip side, Sagittarius, ruled by expansive Jupiter, has the opposite problem. She's so eager to start that she often doesn't stop to plan. She's prone to skipping steps, overlooking details, or launching before something's truly ready. This can frustrate the Pisces man, who may feel rushed or emotionally disconnected from the final product. Without a grounded third party, say, a meticulous Virgo bookkeeper or a Capricorn project manager, they risk turning a beautiful concept into a chaotic mess. Pisces could spiral into creative stagnation. Sagittarius might bulldoze through the plan without enough foundation. Their business baby could crash before it ever gets legs. But here's the twist: if they recognize and respect each other's gifts, they can transcend these limitations. Pisces must trust that Sagittarius isn't rushing him, she's challenging him to act. And Sagittarius must understand that Pisces isn't being slow, he's deepening the work, adding the emotional richness that makes their business unforgettable. When they stop trying to fix each other and start leveraging each other, magic happens. They can create businesses that feel as good as they function. Think, a wellness retreat company that blends meditation with global adventure. A creative agency that crafts stories for nonprofits with a social mission. A podcast that dives into spirituality, travel, and personal transformation. Or a travel brand that helps people heal through exploration and storytelling. They don't just sell products or services, they create experiences. They don't follow trends, they start them. Their business becomes an extension of their personalities, soulful, fearless, imaginative, and purpose-driven. What really sets this duo apart is their shared love for meaning and movement. Neither of them is content building something just to make money. They want to make an impact. Pisces wants to touch hearts. Sagittarius wants to change lives. Together, they build businesses that matter. Ultimately, their success depends on one core principle: communication. When they're honest about their weaknesses and generous with their strengths, when they stop trying to work in isolation and instead lean on each other's genius, they don't just succeed, they thrive. And in a world full of sterile startups and soulless corporations, a Pisces man and Sagittarius woman business team offers something rare: a company with a conscience and a compass. That's not just business, that's legacy. Final thoughts: can they make it work? So, Pisces man and Sagittarius woman, are they destined soulmates, or simply two cosmic wanderers passing through each other's orbit? The truth is a paradox. As rich and contradictory as their dynamic, they are both deeply incompatible and profoundly transformative for each other. They can either crash like a comet into the ocean or rise like twin flames lighting the sky. And the difference? It all comes down to what they're willing to learn from one another. Let's face it, this relationship is not the easy kind. It's not the kind where everything flows effortlessly, where routines are predictable, or where emotions always make sense. It's a pairing made of friction and fire, depth and distance. He wants closeness that borders on spiritual merging. She wants freedom that feels like flight. He lives for emotional nuance, she lives for raw, unfiltered honesty. He may weep in metaphors. She may laugh at the storm. And sometimes, those differences feel like separate languages, ones that neither of them ever learned how to speak. But here's the twist: they can learn. And when they do, it's not just about understanding each other, it's about becoming more complete versions of themselves. Pisces learns how to step outside his comfort zone, how to trust the unknown, how to act with courage instead of always waiting for emotional clarity. Sagittarius learns how to sit with stillness, how to listen with empathy, how to hold space for vulnerability without trying to outrun it. They don't just love each other, they stretch each other. And that growth, however uncomfortable, is the gold. There will be moments when Pisces feels abandoned by Sagittarius's need for space. And moments when Sagittarius feels suffocated by Pisces's emotional depth. But if they pause, if they breathe, if they remember the why behind the discomfort, they'll realize it's not rejection. It's opportunity. An invitation to evolve, to mature, to shed the ego and embrace something bigger than personal preference. When they lean into the discomfort rather than retreat from it, something remarkable happens: they begin to build a language of love that neither knew they were capable of speaking. Pisces softens her sharp edges without losing his identity. Sagittarius holds his heart without losing her wings. They become less about compromise and more about integration, creating a space where difference isn't just tolerated, but celebrated. This isn't a cookie-cutter romance. It's the kind that leaves fingerprints on your soul. The kind that inspires novels, midnight phone calls, and lifelong memories. They may fight. They may drift. But if the bond is strong enough, and the willingness is real, they always find their way back. Maybe not to what they were, but to what they're meant to become. In the end, the question isn't just, can they make it work? The real question is, are they willing to work for it? Because if they are, this match can transcend the limits of logic or astrology. It becomes a story of duality and harmony, water flowing through fire, fire lighting up water. Together, they challenge the idea that opposites must divide, and prove instead that they can create something bold, beautiful, and brilliantly new. They may not be the couple who finishes each other's sentences, but they might be the couple who inspires others to start writing their own. And in that sense, Pisces man and Sagittarius woman aren't just lovers, they're legends. And those? They're never easy. But they're always unforgettable. If you enjoyed this cosmic deep dive, don't forget to like, subscribe, and explore more videos on zodiac love, compatibility, and personal growth. And if you want to see more astrological matchups or have a pairing you're curious about, drop it in the comments. We might just decode it next. Catch you in the next one. Until then, keep looking up.